Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. And I hope it finds you well out there. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I was under the weather at the end of last week. I want to thank Jason for, filling in the best he could. It's always hard when you're down a person. Well, I was out feeling much, much better. And, good to be back. Probably got to get retrained here a little bit. Don't forget, tonight, 6:30 at the Dave & Buster's at Desert Ridge, upstairs in the Platinum Lounge. It's a private little area away from where all the games are. The best I can tell you, go up the stairs or the escalator or elevator and go to the left. There will be a door. I'll probably, hopefully, my wife or somebody will be standing there. And we'll have food, drinks, the main topic of discussion, Texas coin, if you Iskander as well, starts at 6:30. Gage will start talking at 7. So as long as you're there before 7, you will get the gist of it. There was a call last night. I don't know how many of you listened, but it was a recap of the SEC and Bobby's thing there. There's going to be a call every day this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that Bobby's going to be doing. Today is going to be all the tech stuff that's coming. So a lot of things. Basically, they're going to try to update everybody on everything that's going on. Here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to get into all of that today. If you are going to attend and you haven't told us you're attending, please do so today so we can make sure that we've got a pretty accurate count right now. Looks like, we're going to have quite a few people there. So, but I want to make sure we get it right. And I think it's kind of a good time to come because now we have the details with the SEC. For everybody, though, I'll wait. Normally we do a Wednesday recap. That'll allow me to get even more information, so when Wednesday comes around, I'll update you on all of the SEC stuff as well. So we got that out of the way now. We have a memorandum of understanding on the Strait of Hormuz and the Iranian situation. I don't know. Sounds promising. The interesting thing is no one's kind of said, hey, by the way, here's what everybody signed. But from what the press is saying, apparently somehow we got to wait till Friday. But on Friday, everything is supposed to reopen as far as the Strait of Hormuz goes. Lots of talk about how much money the Iranians are going to get out of the deal. Like I said, we haven't seen anything, and the whole blown up uranium, enriched uranium that's buried in the mountain. This we'll see, but it kind of feels like maybe another deal just kind of like Obama, right? Which is, okay, hey, we bombed the crap out of you. Obviously, we did it on a lot bigger scale. Here's some money and promise to never have a nuclear weapon. And by the way, when and if you could ever unbury that other uranium, we'll make you do something with it. The problem, I think, with that is by the time... If we leave it to the Iranians, by the time they unbury it, Trump won't even be in office anymore. So, I'm sure, I don't know. But here's the good news. Everyone loved it. Then, of course, it was Donald Trump's birthday. We had the UFC on the White House lawn. I don't know how many of you watched that. I watched it, and, I like watching guys beat the crap out of each other. It was a good card. I mean, Gaethje won the big bout. That was really, that was a bloody bout. But I don't know if you saw one of the U.S. fighters. He's a heavyweight, and his name it's Mark. No, it's not Hogan, Hoyt or something like that. He's from California, which makes it even funnier. He's figured this stuff out. So he's like a WWE guy, right? He does outrageous stuff, and he's a rising star in the UFC. He knocks out this guy. Joe Rogan's interviewing him, and he came out with, one last thing. So he does this interview, and he's thinking this and that. And hey, one last thing. Michelle Obama's a man. That was kind of the highlight.
I didn't hear that.
Of the whole thing.
I didn't hear it.
Obama is a man, so I'm sure there's memes. I haven't looked, but I'm sure there's memes out there of this guy. It was. That was the one big thing I took away from that. It was, let's just say, that ended the interview too. By the way, that was the interview.
I should turn my TV on more.
Right. We'll be back. Stay with us. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Let's take a quick look. Now, as expected, right? We kind of told you, man, buy that gold and silver before this thing gets decided. Now, I guess something could go wrong between now and Friday. I kind of doubt it. Looks like we've been looking for a way out, and I think we've got it right now. The Dow up 675, the S&P up 127, the NASDAQ up 680, the 10-year note down to 446. If that's maybe the disappointing side, we're hoping, and maybe as the week goes on, that 10-year note will get a little lower. But I think this effectively takes the rate hikes off the table now, right? And the only way they were going to hike rates, if they allowed oil to go to like 150, right, they were going to probably have to do it. That appears today anyway to be over. Oil's down $4. Gold roaring up $135, right? It was up 100 and what was it, up 140 on Friday, right? So up almost $300 here. 43.55. So back above that 200-day moving average. Silver also second day in a row here. Big gains on the silver side, up more than $2.50, $70.50 right now on spot silver. I think the day before I went down, I think it was Wednesday was my last day here. We basically were running Silver Eagles at what the spot price is today. So I hope some of you were able to take advantage of that. Right now, we don't know a lot other than they're saying that ships are starting to move. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but they're like I said, I think everybody is anticipating that this is going to be done on Friday, 60 days, where the strait is going to be open. Nobody's going to charge a fee, and And I guess that depends on as long as Israel stops bombing Lebanon. I guess that's kind of maybe the big thing on that. But, Jason, I think listen, they wanted a deal. I don't know if it's a good deal or a bad deal. My guess tells me it's probably not a great deal because we haven't seen anything. Unlike all these other deals, there's always, these are the points and this is the point. But as long as this deal holds, I think any threat of rate hikes is now gone. And I think very quickly we'll go back to when are we going to cut rates.
I think they can go that direction, right? You have to still see, problems with the market, right? I mean, don't the markets have to show some kind of strain so that we need to cut the rates, right, Joe? Because raising the rates hurts the market. So if the markets are acting like they're unhappy for some reason, maybe we'll see the stock market go down a little bit here, and then they'll lower the rates, and the markets will be happy, and we'll blow everything up.
Yeah, so Jason's like, hey, wait a minute, can we lower rates at record highs? The Fed's already done that, right? We've seen it before. Remember, I think it's going to be about GDP. They cannot run these deficits and have GDP at 2%. That just won't work. Remember, they have to grow out of it. That's their plan. Of course, we know that will not work. But it is interesting. Over the weekend, J.P. Morgan now says they're expecting the gold price to average $6,000 in the final quarter of 2026. And prices heading even higher than that in 2027. And of course, obviously, you're sitting here thinking about, hey, gold was just above, it was above 4,000. Obviously today, right, closer to, 43.50, 43.60. That is a huge move to get to 6,000. I mean, you're talking about a 30% increase. But again, citing demand, citing inventory levels, and now a change at the Fed. And as long as the straits reopen, they expect gold to make a big run. So here's some key numbers to keep our eyes out. The 200-day, which I just told you, just went across it. 43.40 was the 200-day. The next one to look at, 47.30. So that is the 50-day moving average. So right now, at least today, right now we've got gold 43.57. 43.57. And of course, TV gold, which is probably the one they're looking at. It just depends on if they're looking at the contract or the spot. But it's J.P. Morgan, so maybe they're looking at the spot, which is New York. That's at 43.74. So clearly above that 50 or that 200-day. But essentially, we're most likely going to see gold rally to that 50-day number, and then once it breaks above that 50-day number, that 4,730 number, then we can talk about 5,000. But at least for the short term, J.P. Morgan pretty much said, go not quite 20%, right? 4,000 to 4,800. We didn't quite get to 4,000. 47.30 isn't quite 4,800, but they are expecting a very fast recovery to the 50-day moving average, and then, of course, a very dovish Federal Reserve, and, of course, ultimately central banks no longer needing to sell any gold, right? Because the central banks that had gold to sell were using that as well as selling dollars to buy oil. They think that is going to end, and you are going to resume these massive gold purchases. A lot of these countries they expect that were forced to sell some gold are going to want to buy it back, and that they aren't going to want to buy back the treasuries that they had to sell, Jason. So J.P. Morgan kind of saying, hey, we think that these countries that were selling U.S. treasuries are not going to want to buy them back. And if anything, they'll buy the gold back before they buy the treasuries back. And that's why they're maintaining $6,000. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get to 6 anymore. This war thing obviously went farther than I thought it was going to go. I thought this thing was going to be over much quicker. But yeah, I think we're going to see a price close to where that all-time high was, that $5,600 level. But you can see 6,000 if in, say, the fourth quarter of this year, the Fed starts talking rate cuts.
That sounds logical, yeah. I mean,
right? I mean,
but without any other stimulus, right? There's always stuff going on, right, Joe?
Right.
When the stuff goes on, then they conveniently get to change the direction. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz did not need to be closed at all.
No.
This was a decision that was made, and then when a few ships were coming through, I think it was a negotiation. This sure looked like a negotiation. I know there's some people that died. Things were blowing up. Let's just call this a very aggravated negotiation. And we don't have proof of who died and who didn't die. I mean, you want to believe the news? All I saw was Iran wants a bigger piece. I think they're giving up. I think they're giving up on their. They're going to be quasi working with centrally banked countries now. And they want a bigger piece, and then in the double blockade that was going on,
yes, the blockade.
They showed that they were going to let ships through. They're like, look, we need more, right? And I heard the sanctions are going away, or most of the sanctions are going away, or we can't have. I think Iran needs to be a convenient enemy from now on. So anytime they've got too much oil and they want to inflate things, how can you look? This inflative cycle we're going into, this could last a decade or maybe 2 decades. We have no idea how long they're going to keep it inflating. After World War II, when the debt to GDP was super, super high, they got into an inflative cycle that lasted into 1980, into the 80s, right, Joe? So they probably could use something that they can. Oh, Iran's being bad again. They're going to get a nuke again. We're going to shut it all down again because there's too much oil floating around. They're going to need that, right, Joe? I mean, what other good excuse do they have to shut down energy and create inflation? So I think there's a game being played now. I don't trust Iran being sovereign anymore because they sure seems like they cut a deal, right? Deal or no deal.
Yeah, deal or no deal. We will get some data out. We'll get retail sales out. We are expecting a nice, 0.5% rise, obviously with inflation and whatnot. We'll get industrial production. We'll also hear from Kevin Warsh for the first time. Interesting, as the Fed will, on Wednesday, release a rate decision, which everyone's saying there will be no rate hike. But this meeting, this is going to be interesting. We're supposed to get the dots on the dot plot, right? You think about it. This is what our economy is, a bunch of dots on a graph, right, that they change every other meeting, right? Obviously, this meeting, you're going to see dots, towards raising rates, right, because of inflation. People are speculating that Kevin Warsh is not going to release the dots. So that would be something on Wednesday. If Kevin Warsh doesn't release the dots, I would give that a very strong sign that, we're not doing anything close to raising rates. As a matter of fact, I believe this dot plot is now garbage, and we're not even going to release it. You could see gold have a very big week, Jason, if we see things like that, because that would be, they don't like it when the Fed, wait a minute, I'm not saying that he won't, but people are speculating that Kevin Warsh, he's going to remake the Fed. One of the things we know is he wants to make sure that nobody hears about inflation.
Yes, ma'am.
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Monday. $20 gold pieces, $44.30. That is, what, 80, not even 80, $70 over spot. Right? So you're still right in your spot, right? $41.95. That's gone, right? Probably never to be seen now. Maybe did we see the lows? I'll put one caveat on it. If for whatever reason this deal falls apart and oil goes to $200, I think we've seen the lows in gold and silver. It's done, and you saw how fast they went away. Right now, I think the next thing is get in before 5,000, right? And today, 44.30. I will tell you tomorrow, add probably $100 to that as the gold price continues to move here at 800-951-0592. Now, let's talk about all of this, I guess, AI, SpaceX, right, data centers. It's weird because they don't let us run businesses this way, but the big companies can. Take over the weekend, NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA, right? As far as we know, they make $1 billion, right? I mean, they had to borrow $20 billion. What? Yeah, they raised money to borrow $20 billion. Now, NVIDIA can borrow, right, at probably right near, the 10-year note. But you're going to pay, 4.5% interest or whatever. Who knows what kind of borrowing they do, balloon payments and all this other stuff. But, yeah, well, why don't you just use the money you have? Well, we don't have it. So here's what we're learning. There's now, and actually this number's a little old because it was a weekend, $1.8 trillion in what they call off-balance sheet that is at the heart of the AI super cycle. The recent surge in popularity of what they call this SPV, off-balance sheet way of doing it. So in other words, these companies borrow the money, but it doesn't show that they borrowed it on the balance sheet. So when they give earnings, right, so that they want to make their earnings look better than what they appear to be. There's $1 trillion in long-term purchase commitments, $800 billion in lease commitments, right, which is supporting the AI build-out, and, of course, masking the true funding cost, right? How much does this stuff cost? We don't know, right? Why? Because the companies are hiding it in these vehicles that all of a sudden, of course, like I said, we can't use these vehicles, but they can. Billions in what they say variable lease payments and over $100 billion in embedded capex inside accounts payable, as well as the construction in progress pipeline, which reflects capacity built but not yet expensed, and the $520 billion in cumulative depreciation. Jason, basically what they're saying is, by the way, this is kind of the same nonsense we saw in the dot-com bubble. And the reason why, and again, we always say be diversified, have your money, in more than one spot and all of these things. But it is amazing that these people are allowed to hide these things from their balance sheet just so the stock price can listen. There's only one reason to do it, right? What's the reason? Well, we want our stock price to go up, right? When we release our earnings, right, we want it to be really, really good. Hey, look at all the money we made. We're just not going to tell you about all the money we spent, Jason. I mean, that's essentially what they get to do. Hey, here's our profit right here, our EBITDA numbers, right? Earnings before taxes, depreciation, and all that other stuff. But by the way, we actually spent a lot more than that, but we're not going to tell you about it.
I heard Back to the Future when you were reading that. Right. The flux capacitor, is that what you just said? We got to use the flux capacitor. 1.21 gigawatts.
8 million gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts, right?
Oh, man.
That's what it sounds like they're using. Somebody was binge watching some movies over the weekend. They came up with that.
But don't worry, guys. They're looking out for our best interest, right? They want to make sure that we have all the facts. And I don't want to miss this because it came out. I talked about it. Then I went down. Did you see the Social Security Trust Fund? So in the last year, they've lowered it twice. 2034. Then it went to 2033. Now it's 2032. And, of course, they're expecting this COLA to be much higher than they thought. And here's what's interesting. Speaker Johnson says that, hey, we're not going to do anything on Social Security because it could damage our chances of maintaining control of the House and Senate. So I just to be clear, anybody that goes out talking about cuts to Social Security, you better not, because then we may not win re-election. So if anybody was concerned, I don't think we're going to hear the Democrats or the Republicans talk about anything when it comes to Social Security. I guess, Jason, it's just going to be, we'll just wait till it gets here, and then we'll say, it's out of our hands.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the end, when things start to blow up, it's always point the fingers at something else, right, Joe?
Well, let's just face it. Here's what's going to happen, guys. Retirement age is going to go up. Benefits are going to go down, right? They'll just tax more of people's money, right? I mean, it's not like we don't know what's coming, but let's not talk about that, because you know what? It's just like don't let them come, what comes to these balance sheets. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour, $20 gold. Jump on it here, guys. 44.30. Gold's now up 140, 43.60. As again, we told you, back above its 200-day moving average. Next up, the 50-day, 47.30. And that could happen depending on what Warsh does Wednesday. We could see that this week. So be careful there. How about silver? So let's look at silver. Silver also has reclaimed its 200-day moving average. And now it looks like the shorts are trapped once again. Silver now saying, back from the dead. Here's the points we're looking at for silver. $72. I think that could fall as early as tomorrow. Could do it today, but I think probably maybe tomorrow. But the area that I'm really looking at, $76 for silver, $47.30 for gold. Those are, you want to buy before we get to those levels. And right now, this dollar connection trade is now going to shift the other way with the oil, going to be over. The dollar rally, I guess, is probably over, and they're expecting everybody to reverse positions, go the other way. Remember, silver, more volatile than gold. I would not be shocked to see gold. You can't even rule out $80 this week. Depending on what happens Wednesday.
And just to remind the audience, silver's up almost $3 today. Just in case you came in late, silver's up almost $3 and gold's up $140. Just throw it out there.
Right on top of what they did Friday, which is kind of the same thing. Another $3, right? Another $140 on Friday for gold, right? This everything's kind of going back the other way. So $15.85. If you want to get in on U.S. Silver Eagles, 5-ounce silver bars, right? We're looking at what, $390 right now. 800-951-0592. So from a technical standpoint, we've gotten technically back bullish now on both gold and silver. And look out for silver. Like I said, you know what? There was a lot of, and that's just how paper silver works. A lot of shorts, if it breaks through 72, are going to be forced to cover, which, right, you can blow right past 76 and right back into the 80s extremely quickly. I'll be surprised. I really will be. If silver's got over $100 before the end of the year, I'll just be surprised. Unless something happens that I don't see, right? The war restarts, oil goes to 200 or something like that. It's hard not to see it. And even, I kind of made fun of all the off-balance sheet stuff. Like, tell us the truth. Let's be honest about what these companies have to spend. But, Jason, all that off-balance sheet stuff involves silver. All of it.
I know.
Right? Think $1.8 trillion, and it all involves silver.
And that oil price is just getting way too low, isn't it?
Well, yeah, $80.
That's not what they want. Once you dip into the 70s, you get back into that alert. Oil prices are too cheap, right? So, I mean, I think we're going to be doing bobbing and weaving here for a while. I think J.P. Morgan, the ones that have been tricking on silver for a long time now, when they put in that big order at $72 back in January,
yeah,
that's where we're at. And can it go to 80? Absolutely. Can it go back down to 64? This is a great time to buy. It doesn't matter if it's 65 or 75. You got to jump on this stuff because I think Joe is right when it comes to the overall end of the year going into 2027 price of silver and gold is going to be high. At some point, it won't matter if oil's going up or down. At some point, it won't matter if there's a war or not. There's a bunch of money coming. There is a bunch of money. And the money's coming now. Look at the IPO of SpaceX. Are you kidding me? Where do you think those guys are going to put it when they pull profit? And there's 2 more of these IPOs coming. These AI, SpaceX, you think of spaceships, but they admittedly say that SpaceX is an AI company. There's 2 more of these companies that are going to be doing IPOs. This pump and dump stuff's going to happen, and at the end of it, they're going to put their money where they think it's smart. Well, who's the richest, smartest guys in the world? The ones that don't get mentioned. They're the central banks that have been loading up on gold and loading up on gold and loading up on gold. Do you really think they want to load up on it when it's 5, 6, 7, 8,000 if they can get it at 4,300? They're screaming at you to be buying it for 4,300. You don't want to buy it? Great. I have a feeling a bunch of you guys listening right now are going to wait until it's $5,500, breaking its new record high, and they'll be like, we're going to be happy to sell it to you. At least you'll get some. But you could have got like another quarter ounce of gold now versus when it hits that record high and then blows past that. So you got this nice little frame. If you want to wait a little bit, okay, whatever. But I would sincerely think if you're going to put anything into gold and silver, quit waiting for it to go down to $3,500 or $3,000 or whatever.
Here's what it's going to cost, because Jason brings up a great point. Let's just say you're going to buy 5 ounces. Waiting to 5,500 costs you an entire ounce of gold. That's what it will cost you.
Yep.
Right? You can buy 6 ounces at this price or 5 ounces at that price. I mean, that's what it's going to cost you. Silver, same thing, right? I mean, silver, you're losing so many ounces by waiting on it. And again, we said it all along. Listen, buy it before this thing is over, because by the end of the year, we think the price of gold and silver is going to be back where it was before this whole thing started. So you got this window here to take advantage. 800-951-0592. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Get $20 gold pieces, $44.30. U.S. Silver Eagles, $15.85. 5-ounce silver bars, $3.90. So we got a little something for everybody at 800-951-0592. And it's hard. I think this is just me. I think this solidifies, if this deal holds, which this is what I think we're basically going to do everything we can to make it hold, right? We want out. There's no real win left for us. We took a shot at regime change. It didn't work. And essentially, there's nothing left to really blow up except civilian targets, and that's not very appealing. Putting troops in, not very appealing. Let's just figure out a way that we can save a little face and make a deal. Jason, I think this guarantees the old. We're not gonna see a pullback till 2027, and again maybe 2028, right? I think this bubble bursting is going to wait, and Jason, I think, has been very, very smart on this. Much closer to the presidential election, right? They want it a bad economy heading into that election. Have the Democrat come in, right? And I'm sure by that time, right, Iran will finally get the nuclear dust out of the ground, and we'll do the whole thing all over again. But, who knows? Let's be optimistic and hope it all works out great and peace on earth. But I do think there's not very many scenarios for a bear case for the rest of this year. That's just what I see. I don't know. I could be wrong.
There's too many IPOs to fund up
a lot of money
for the end of the year. And look, what they're doing is
a lot of money.
They're taking it out of other NASDAQ and other stocks, and they're going to put it here. How many times do they have to scream how important AI in the future is? The future, right? So they're going to pump and pump and pump this up because how about this, Joe? It's a lot easier to control 1 or 2 or 3 entities than it is to control 1,000 entities, right? Yeah, so if you pump the entire amount of the real value of the stock market into 10 stocks, right? And what they're going to do right now is they're going to suck it out of other stocks, and they're going to put it into SpaceX and these other ones.
I don't know if you saw, Zuckerberg was at the UFC fight, right? Yeah, listen, the big tech guys, they know where their bread's
Zuckerberg's not a UFC fight guy. I mean, give me a break. That guy looks like he'd fall over if you breathed on him wrong, right? The worm Zuckerberg. He looks like a Veggie Tales character.
I thought him and Musk were going to fight at one point. Yeah, now that would be something I want to watch, but I guess not. Don't forget the meeting in Phoenix tonight. Please, if you haven't RSVP'd, please do so. 6:30. Listen, we'll try to have you out of there by 8:30. Okay, it's at David Buster's at Desert Ridge Platinum Lounge upstairs. Again, we'll feed you and educate you about what is coming, and I'm sure we'll get into a little bit of like the SEC stuff, the tech stuff, all that stuff. So please RSVP if you are going to be attending. Other than that, $20 gold, $44.30. Silver Eagles, 1585, 800-951-0592.